This is John Bukenya. I'm very happy to see all the faces. I think in one way or another I've met or interacted with all of you. I'm happy to see Ruth Chant, Pauline, and all the cousins in Kenya. In Uganda, we are very busy night and day. Projects come up all the time, all the minute they pop up. Our principal project, EDAPO, you have heard about it. We are very grateful to EDAPO for their quick response whenever we need them. If we need a World Peace Assembly, EDAPO has so many CEDAs, 150 plus CEDAs. So they have really contributed a lot to the national coherence, and we are going to engage them in the election period. I myself, I was there in the humble beginning of EDAPO, so I'm very proud about it. We happened to interact with Partners for World Peace some good time back before even I was the national director. But my first time to interact with Dr. Jim, at that time the morale in the governors was very low. We had little salaries for everyone, and also the projects were very, very few. We had EDAPO and a few of them. This project, that's the Congolese project, had started with David Shapiro, and it became so big for us to monitor, so it broke away. That's Dr. Jim and me in a blue suit, and then the gentleman on the other side of Dr. Jim is Bulongo. These are very creative men. They're businessmen, and they are very well connected with their embassy, which does a lot for them. So this organization, the Congolese, has a secondary school and a primary school with a medical center with highly qualified doctors. That gentleman, Bulongo Zekundo Douglas, on the other side of Dr. Jim in a pink shirt, he won the Maharishi Award. I did not put in any effort for him to win somewhere. He happened to have won the Maharishi Award for the brilliant ideas. He registered a Congolese school in Uganda, convincing the Ministry of Education in Uganda to allow Congolese citizens to do Congolese exams, which are under the supervision of the Congolese embassy and the education inspectors from Congo. That's an amazing step because very many refugees would come here at the age of 18, 19. Uganda has no option other than taking them back to primary one. So that brilliant young man solved that puzzle for the Congolese. Sometime back, their school was bought by a businessman who instead wanted to build apartments. So they were evicted, and Partners for World Peace raised the first step in giving them a new place. So we are grateful to Dr. Jim. That is me carrying out my regular checking. As you see my bag, where my bag is, the office stands there. If I move to the Congolese, everything is coordinated from that point. That helps me to run projects and also to run back for administrative work. So we're doing some meditation and checking at the clinic with the medical staff. That is Emmanuel Clinic, which has received lots of support from Partners for World Peace and Dr. Jim, like that tent and those chairs, plus the medicines. Those people are now having an English course, so we don't have difficulties in communication like it was when it was French, Lingala, and Swahili. So these days we don't move with translators because they have learned. This project has more than 2,000 people. At one time, it was believed to be the one with the highest numbers. And Dr. Jim did a great work to teach them. He personally engaged in teaching them to do referrals. So when a patient comes, the doctors at the end of the treatment plan, they prescribe TM as a must. We are blessed with Dr. Simon Mungu, I think that's the name, who came and inspired them. And there in that tent, which was given to us by Partners for World Peace, we are checking women. And of course, these are mothers. Initially, we were doing our meditation in the ward, and it was inconveniencing the doctors. So that entire space acts as a waiting arena for patients and sometimes for us. If you have another picture, you can go ahead. That is Emmanuel Medical Center, fully owned by Congolese, and they registered it in the Ministry of Health procedures, and they are issuing their pharmaceutical French pharmacopoeia. Their prescriptions are in French. The embassy officials also come there. Because of language barrier, very many Congolese cannot get what they want because they cannot explain how they feel to the Ugandan doctors. So either they have to carry an interpreter or get medically off-spotted. So this clinic offers them treatment in their mother tongue. Out behind there, a standing lady is Dede, who has been a very powerful tool in this Congolese project. There are more than 20,000 Congolese in the urban slums of Kampala, and those 20,000, our target was to teach 8,000 in the past 2 years, and we are moving on well. Our governors have a heavy task of 60 people per month. That's the minimum. And we are very, very strict in monitoring that so that we catch up with the demand. That is Governor Lukwago, who is secondary school. That's a secondary school. Some of those photos are before COVID, so they might not have the mouth masks. Lukwago enjoys teaching there all the time. Sometimes he has to find classes busy and he has to wait for 2-3 hours in order to get his time fixed. And is a powerful tool in running up and down from one project to another. We have the secondary school. That's the word of wisdom, still under Lukwago. And we use these places as TM centers for community. With so many projects that we have in Uganda, those schools happen to be meditation centers for the parents. The Congolese are so organized that even without calling them for meditation, they already have sessions or some sort of meetings. So we ride on those sessions that keep going on every day. That is the class of wisdom. Those are now adult students who are on the sitting technique. And they are very, very happy because of their school resuming business. The school had stopped due to COVID, but right now the government has cleared them. The government had only cleared candidate classes, and they had the big task of explaining to the government of Uganda their candidates and when they are sitting exams. So Dr. Jim and Global Project for Peace have played a very powerful role in making that school shift to another place. Otherwise, all those candidates were not going to sit exams this year if it wasn't Dr. Jim and Raja Graham. If you have other photos, we can run through. That's about
the background.
That's
the background, John.
Yes, please.
Explain Didi. She is a Congolese refugee, TN teacher. So she's a very unique person for your projects in Uganda.
Yes, Dede came just like you're seeing those refugees seated there. She was sitting there like them. And then because she was qualified, she's a qualified journalist from the university in Congo. When they called for people to go for TTC, she was among the 4 or 5 people who went in that group, and she qualified. And I remember she had a big problem. She got her passport of Congo from Uganda, and she went ahead and got a visa for Thailand. But the Ugandan government was asking, how did you enter the country? So I had to snitch her to Arua, northwest of our country, snitched her back to Congo. Then she came, exit Congo, enters Uganda, something that I did tactfully, and it worked to enable her get the permission to leave the airport in Entebbe. She has been very powerful. She goes with me to the TV stations and radio stations, even when the programs are in local languages. She has the charisma to work for the movement, and no one has a wrangle with her. She's very settled. That's what I can say. If you have other photos, we can go on. All that is meditation going on with our candidates. Those are current photos, maybe 3 weeks back. And in our new school, where we're continuing to. So that's another project called Brain Trust. There's another project called Brain Trust. It is on Guru Highway. And this is the very first man who was recruited when Dr. Jim came. Dr. Jim recruited that man himself, together with a certain teacher called Bamande. And at that time, we didn't have any project. And we're all skeptical how this will work. So that the gentleman you're seeing is called the Brain Trust Director. Waiswa is a professor or lecturer of mathematics in Deja University. He believes in himself, he does things himself, and he claims Dr. Jim has been the first founder in his life. All those things he has built himself with a mosque for the community. Recently, he hosted the seminar with Dr. Ann Balkema for conscious-based education, and he fed the entire seminar with the food he grows himself. So he overloaded our meditators and teachers with food. Everybody will remember him for that. I personally have taught in that school. Right now, it is under the care of that gentleman you're seeing in the court, Mr. Isa Balgahare. You saw him in Kenya, those who are there. He's one of our senior TM teacher whom we send to Muslim communities. He's a Muslim, he's Mr. Isa. This is a Muslim community, and they have done so many videos inspiring fellow Muslims to take up meditation. So those two, Waiswa, the fat man, and Mr. Tobias Isa, have been spearheading the meditation for the Muslim people, and their videos have moved up to West Africa. Brain Trust Islamic Junior School, this gentleman has 2 campuses, primary and secondary. So Mr. Tobias has been very helpful in uplifting those 2 campuses. Every year we have an exodus of TM teachers. We don't keep a TM teacher where he doesn't want. At the end of the year, as the national office, we ask, where do you want to teach? And we rotate peacefully just to see who naturals favor. So Mr. Tobias is now going to move to another project. He's going to move to Brain Trust Junior School somewhere in Kamodi district near Jinja, maybe 100 kilometers away from where he has been, and somebody else will take over, and he's out of movement. Now this is Kasese. This is Mr. Bamande, who is very close in the photo. He was teaching in Brain Trust. He's the one who recruited the Brain Trust, Mr. Waiswa, and having done a lot for that school because they were friends, Mr. Bamande opted to start a TM center in his home area, and that's where he is now with his family. He's running a school called Ideal. Our schools are all picking the names Ideal. I don't know why. Ideal School in Bali, Ideal School in Gulu, Ideal School in Kasese. So Mr. Bamande started with his very great art of mobilization. One time he had so many children that the education inspector threatened to close him because of overpopulation. That very work you're seeing was started by Dr. Jim himself. He sponsored us. We went for the pilot survey. We got that place and we started. Then the school received enormous donations for materials, playing materials for the students. At that time, we had just started. Even the maram, the floor were not good. Right now, the floor is okay. That's Mr. Bamande in the court, the extreme. And those are his parents and board of director, PTA, Parent Teachers Association. I think, yes, that's our school in Kasese. This school has around 800 meditators. Somehow we were very threatened that Bamande could break the COVID rules because he remained teaching even in COVID. That is Katwe Central Primary School. Tobias is in the court, but he's leaving that school at his choice. And I think I'm taking over that school. I'll be the TM teacher there. Dede, who is rotating in 3 projects. Dede doesn't mind even if you add the the sixth project she'll just accommodate. So she's very energetic. The gentleman holding a bag in a white shirt is the director. This school had issues with us because of the poor orientation, the one they had, and we didn't want to spend money in schools that are facing west. These innocent teachers didn't know what we are meaning by orientation, so they were always wondering whether we don't want to help, giving excuses. But somehow Dr. Jim came down to their level of understanding and advised them slowly to change to another place which is supportive. So this place you're seeing is facing north and it's favorable. They don't have so many problems. Right now, as we talk, this school is the one, it's the one producing the coherence for election. We are having 100 people meditating daily with the support of Seeds of Heaven, which is Global Project for Peace. They are meditating morning and evening, and we are having a lunch on Friday. This is still Kasese, where our parents are meditating daily. And sometimes when those parents cannot afford school fees, they bring the bricks and sand because they are near mines. So they bring lorries and lorries. So this is still this is school. This is still the other school, Katwe, which was on poor orientation. Now this is Ideal Nursery School Gulu, which is northern Uganda. Gulu is becoming a city with an international airport. So it's a powerful city. The teacher there is Ojimi. Most of you have seen him. And the starting of this school was really rough. It is a hostile area which has been devastated by the Lord's resistance rebels who killed people. In that very village, you can listen to stories from morning to evening, stories that will scare you, including stories of young ladies who could tell you horrible things that they witnessed. So just take an example that parents of these children have seen hell on their land, with some of them becoming mentally sick. As you see, some of the rebels were released back to the community, and the community repels them. So there's out of repulsion. You killed my cousin, I saw you. So there's that problem. The reconciliation has not gone into the hearts. That is the first year of graduation in Awach. We are 2 years old, but moving at a speed of a lightning. This school one time had challenges with the landlord, having a problem with a certain bank, Post Bank. He had put the school in a bank. Still, Dr. Jim, who does not ask so many questions when there are such devastating problems, but be part of the solution, and Raja Graham, they helped us to help the landlord so that we don't get the effect of their loan transactions. So this school is called Good Luck. This is where I have been teaching and I'm moving. Somebody else is taking over. As I told you that in Uganda, we enjoy exodus. The teacher who is in a depot can leave, and then he rotates another time to a depot. So Mr. Lukwago, who was teaching in the Congolese, will be leaving the Congolese for Dede, and he'll go to that school. This school, just like a depot, they are the quickest to mobilize. Once you tell them, we have this activity, it takes them maybe an hour to mobilize 300 people plus. We are very, very confident that when a depot is there and Good Luck, mobilization is very simple. So as you see, Dr. Anne from Holland, she's a mother divine. She's there with the students. She has taught them a lot, and they are teachers. So that's Dr. Anne. It was a tug of war to accommodate her here. She wanted to behave more like Jesus Christ in the crowd. She abandoned all the hotels we paid, and she went and slept in those small, small places with the children. That is, I've been the one teaching there, and these girls love meditation, and they're performing so well. This school is very orderly. It has so many MPs on their board. It has so many police officers on their board. And the The numbers there are amazing. 1,600 people have learned meditation because of this school. And on the other side, it has had the highest number of shocks in all the projects we have. They have been suffering from so many setbacks. But still, we have gone through. All Uganda, what we are suffering from is TM teachers. The numbers are still low. We are advocating to take some more because the projects are growing. Some projects in Alua, we have just stopped them because we don't have the manpower. We have 13 teachers, but they cannot manage the overwhelming numbers because we have not talked about the ladies' organization and their projects that are very, very big. So we are thinking we are very, very busy and the team is very coordinated and the project owners are very supportive. But all this is as a result of the great support that come on short notice to our funders, Dr. Jim and Raja Graham. Those short notes, we know that they really devastate their other programs, but they have been very supportive and we are very, very grateful. We think we are moving on a normal pace. If it wasn't Corona, we would be having very big numbers taught. But even in this period, we have managed to teach very many. And we are now setting our campaign for elections. Our elections are a bit violent because of the big gap between the challengers and those being challenged. 75-year-old being challenged by 37 years. Perception is different. Operation is different. So we are thinking a lot of chaos will be in our elections, but we are going to contribute coherence towards the elections. Jay Guldev.
Jay Gurdev. Thank you, John. Thank you. They are projecting to teach over 5,000 people in Uganda next year. Okay,